Hey, nice to see you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. Good. So you used S7X machine?
We switched to Stronghold this year.
How was it?
It's been really good. I think the first year you always have a lot to figure out, but I think the coffees taste really good. We're trying to bring out the inherent qualities of the coffee. So there's so much data that you get from the probes, and especially the infrared probe. I think it's easier to get closer to that really clear flavor.
Can I see the profile for the varietal and?
So this is the curve that we built for wash. You can see we use a fair amount of heat. The roast is quite short.
60 minutes?
Yeah, 6.5 is first crack. It ends around 7. These shorter roasts I found brought more florals out of the coffee. And then the biggest thing I find with washed is I like to have a declining rate of rise at the end. I think that helps preserve florals. So this has been a profile we built a lot of stuff off of. This was the original profile when we first started testing the washed. This year we've noticed that the coffees from Panama are very dense. They're just getting denser and denser. And so they need a lot of heat, lots and lots of heat to make sure we hit those. And really hot charges as well. The naturals, again, this is the base profile. We've iterated a little bit since then. You see naturals, the rates are a little bit lower. It doesn't fall quite as much. It's a shorter development time, but I like to have slightly lower rates of rise at first crack on naturals, because I think if you have a coffee with some process on it and your rate of rise is too high, it will start to make the coffee too chocolatey. When you taste a natural that's like very fermented, the biggest thing you taste is like cocoa nib, or something like that. I'm trying to make sure that that's not in these Panamanian coffees, because I think that that's not a note that you really want to taste in Panama, because chocolate to me is such a generic note. And so we're trying to have lower rates of rise. It's just around 35 to 40 seconds of development time. So there's short development times to try and make sure we preserve as much character as possible. So we use a lot of hot air. You can see the halogen comes off pretty early. I really like halogen, but near the end of the roast, I want to make sure that there's no burnt flavors. And so halogen's very low, especially on naturals, or if we notice that a coffee has a lot of process on it, we're making sure that we're very delicate with halogen, because the coffee's processy, it might end up burning. So we're actively working on every profile. So we take a baseline profile, looking at how the coffee reacts, we're adjusting profiles to make sure the coffee is as good as possible.
How about varietal?
For varietals, we actually started with the natural Gesha profile as the base profile, because many of the coffees are naturals, and we're not able to design for every variety, because there's so many different varieties that come in. So this one, we felt that the profile worked for more things. Geisha washed is such a specific style of profile that I didn't think it would work for all the coffees. But we worked off this one to make the varietal profile. So it's not exactly like this now. There's been some slight changes as we roasted, but this was the profile that 2.5 weeks ago we started using with varietals, and worked really well. But because the varietals are so different, they might react different. So we have to be very on top of varietals. I think varietals is one of the most difficult ones to roast, because you just don't know what you're getting. You might get a really big Margohipe, you might get a Mocha, you might get a Larinia, you could get anything. And so it's very difficult to roast. That's where the skill of the roasters comes in, because they have roasted these coffees so much. They've roasted coffees like this for their whole career. And so that's when you start to rely on the roasting team and their skill, and where their skill meets the Stronghold, that's where it works really well. They're using the technology of the Stronghold, but their own senses and skills. That's where you get the best coffees. And then the other thing is, in the national jury, we roasted every coffee once, and then we save that profile, so then we know how the coffee is going to react. So once you cup the coffee, we have built a profile for that coffee. So across these roasters, each roaster has many, many profiles saved on it of that coffee that we roasted. And that's the one we pull up. That's the one we analyze. We'll like zoom in, say like, oh, maybe this rate of rise needs to change, or you need to take heat out here. So it starts with this, and then it gets built on and built on and built on.